Arnav, you're mute.
Okay, sorry. So, what's up, everyone? I'm Arnav, and we have Chetan along with us. And welcome to the MOL session for Web3. I hope you're having a great holidays. And we're going to go over like what is Web3 and like the basics of it. And then Chetan will let you know how to set up the development environment that like you can start developing on Web3. And like tomorrow we'll be going over more details. So like be sure to tune in. So, yeah. So, welcome to the session. And the first question जो हमारे दिमाग में आता है when we hear of the term Web3 is like what even is Web3 and अगर Web3 है तो what is Web2 and what is Web1 like that is something जो हमें naturally आता है दिमाग में है ना what's different और अभी मैं क्या use कर रहा हूँ and there's a whole history behind all of this so, like, have you seen those sites, बहुत पुराने वाली, which are like very shabby and they have no CSS involved? Those are the ones from Web 1. ठीक है. What is essentially the characteristic is that those sites have only information that can be seen by a group of people, but like those users who see those information cannot edit or contribute to that information. So there is a group of authors who is like basically controlling that information, and that information is displayed to users. That's it. It's a one-way thing, right? So that was the first version of the web. So like after military uses, the web was used for this, okay, for displaying information. Over time, web evolved, and now people learned that okay, the जिन users को हम involve कर रहे हैं, they can also be providing content. ठीक है. Earlier Web 1 things like Wikipedia, which involved gathering information from other sources, it now enabled its users to like provide information as well. And Wikipedia is not a great example because now we have social media as well. If you look at social media, what does social media do? All the content is provided by the users, all the content is seen by the users, the likes, the shares, like everything is done by the users. Okay, the entire thing is done by the users, and there's just one thing that's really missing in it, right? And it's who makes the rules. So we have seen it very often that okay, someone strike someone's YouTube channel, right? YouTube copyright strike someone's channel for like no apparent reason. They have to like go over like Twitter के ऊपर this goes on a lot, ठीक है? So like YouTube is involved in a lot of controversies. Twitter is involved in a lot of controversies, and basically every big tech company is involved in a lot of controversies because they decide the rules. So, do you see what's the problem here? That all the content is provided by the users. Everything on these sites is done by the users. But जब like बात आती है for making the policies, for basically deciding कि how it's all run, तो हम users के बारे में नहीं सोचते हैं. ठीक है? That's what's happening currently in the web world, right? And to tackle this comes Web3. It is decentralized, है ना? And it's basically focused on who owns the internet. So basically, if I'm involved in making some of the content, then I also I'm also hold some weight over the policies, right? So that's the basic difference. Web 1 involves a one-way communication. A group of authors publish some information to be seen by the users. Web 2 can then involve a lot of users who interact with each other, and Web 3 is basically deciding the ownership, who owns the internet, and it basically gives power to the users. Now, this is a new thing, right? Web 3. So there would be something new involved. Okay, we are generally using Web 2, like the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's basically Web 2 right now because we are providing all the information, but jo sari ownership hai, it's with the big techs, right? So now we're talking about Web 3. So what is the new technology that makes this possible? Like कुछ तो टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट होएगी जिसके कारण ये चीज हो पा रही है, एंड दैट इज अ ब्लॉकचेन. ठीक है, द इंटायरिटी ऑफ वेब 3 बेसिकली रिलाइज ऑन दिस सेंट्रल पीस ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, एंड सो वी नीड टू एक्सप्लोर दिस, राइट? So in very very easy words, a blockchain is a distributed digital immutable ledger. Okay, I was just joking. Okay, this is not the most easy way to explain this. So yeah, let's go over a bit of history. in the 1980s and 90s, there was this piece of technology that was invented, which is called a blockchain. And it is basically a way of, okay, so you take some information and bundle it in a block. And now आप इन blocks की एक chain बना देते हो cryptographically in a way कि like it is historically traceable. So like imagine you have one block. So using some of the information in that block, you can basically find out what was the previous block and what was the previous block to that block. And like the chain goes on until it start, right? That's what a blockchain is. And it was developed around the 80s and 90s. But it did not really take off at that time. So when did it? Some of you might know like in 2007 there was an economic crisis in the US, and it was a pretty big incident. And basically there was like a lot of stock crashes, banks made a lot of mistakes. So to like go over it quickly, basically there were like 8 to 9 banks who had made like the same mistake and they had crashed. But the government had decided to help two of them, and the two of them survived to this day. बाकी सबका क्या हुआ? They are gone. ठीक है. Now the question arises, like imagine you have 10 banks who can save, right? You can save. So which two of you, like which two banks would you save? That's the question. And who really has the authority to decide that? Us case mein, the US government did, maybe because of some profits and who knows, right? But we can all be sure it was all centralized. No customer was involved, right? Maybe no board of directors was involved. It was a totally centralized process. Okay. And that's why like इस सारे डिसीजन के कारण the economy of the world बहुत ज़्यादा हिल गई सारी, है ना? कि everything was in shambles. And like again, out of 10 banks 2 survived and बाकी 8 की क्या गलती थी? They made no mistakes, right? Or rather they made the same mistakes as the other two did. So who's basically deciding? The US government did, and now we are here to change it. So after this incident in 2007, there was an anonymous group in Japan which was led by Satoshi Nakamoto, and they were creating a new type of network based on blockchain that would enable us to have decentralized transactions, right? So you know this entire thing of currencies, just like there's the Indian rupee, there's the US dollar. It's maintained by a central bank. India ke liye there's RBI, and there's like same for the US. They have their own standards. For cryptocurrencies or like these decentralized currencies, this thing does not happen. It's not centralized. Basically, everyone who uses it has a say in how it's being regulated. That's the key difference. And like this whole network was eventually released in 2009 publicly, and everyone knows about Bitcoin after that. This is the inception of Bitcoin. Okay. So Bitcoin was started it was started in 2007, but like publicly released in 2009, and it was quite a good thing at the time, and it basically revolutionized how we saw currency. It was अब हम उसको as a centralized measure नहीं देख रहे हैं, not anymore, right? It's decentralized. They are like it's a new innovation in tech. So now अब जो हमारी currency की transactions है, they are being recorded in this Bitcoin blockchain, right? So someone got the idea, what if we could store something, not transactions, maybe we can store code. And those group of people came up with Ethereum in 2013. And Ethereum is basically just that, you can store programs on the blockchain, and these programs are called smart contracts. Okay. So like once you make this program and you upload it on a blockchain, it's basically immutable, right? So like yeah, blockchain was an immutable ledger. So it's immutable. So once you upload this program onto a blockchain, it cannot be changed, right? And that's what gives it its power. Okay, so there's an example I like to use for this. Imagine you are like a truck driver, a modern day truck driver, not the ones we have we generally see right now. But yeah, you are a truck driver, and basically you get into a deal with a company. Okay, if you deliver these goods from point A to point B in 20 hours, you will get 20,000 rupees. And if you do it beyond 20 hours, you will get 10,000 rupees. Okay. Now, how can the truck driver be sure that like both the sides of the deal is held, right? Let's say the truck driver does get to from point A to point B in like 20 hours, but वो बोलते हैं कि हमने तो 15 hours का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बनाया था, आप तो 20 में लाए हो. So like it's void, you're getting 10,000. That does not work, right? But it could totally happen. So we need something trustless. Like there should be a way that a truck driver should be able to trust the company without there being any intermediary. You don't have anyone central you have to trust in. You can just trust on the system, something like that. And this is basically a good example of how a smart contract can be worked, like can be used, because like you can basically, once you set the condition okay, if the time taken is 20 is less than 20 hours, you give this amount, otherwise you give this amount. Okay, and now it cannot be changed once it's uploaded. Now this was in 2013, and we have like done lots of leaps in technology, and now we have Solana. And okay, so explain Solana, we'll have to go a bit more over how blockchain works. So okay, uh, just a second. Can you like share the screen? Okay, let me just. So I am here on this website, and this is a really good resource to like get started with this. And I'm going to explain to you what basically a blockchain is and how it works, right? And we'll come on Solana later. I'm sorry about that, but yes. So basically, the entirety of the thing is based on something called a hash. Okay, what is a hash? Let's try it out. Okay, so let's say I write this. Okay, this is the data that I'm entering into this block, and it has generated something random. Okay, it does seem to be random, but like okay, like हम देखते हैं किससे start हो रहा है, C20D25. ठीक है, I'll just cut this. ठीक है, I'll type something else. Yeah, Web3, and now you can see it's completely different. This is never going to be the same. But what if I paste the same thing again? C20D25 and the entire thing is same. So हम देख रहे हैं कि if we enter the same thing again, it produces the same hash. So this is not a random thing. ठीक है, you can say कि हमारे इस data का it's a fingerprint. This is a fingerprint of this data जो हम directly reverse engineer नहीं कर सकते, but it does identify it uniquely. ठीक है, if और हमें ये भी पता है कि if we do something else, if you type in something else, then this will be definitely different than what we typed before. And this is what a hash is. ठीक है, a hash is used to maintain integrity. कि basically what I'm typing here उसका एक digital fingerprint type से generate हुआ था. And just in case you're wondering, SHA-256 is the algorithm that's being used here, and it's secure hashing algorithm. ठीक है, and now we move on to what a block is in a blockchain. So this is what a typical block in a blockchain looks like. Obviously, जो commercial वाली है, they're going to be a little bit different because this is something जो किसी बंदे ने खुद बनाया, like Anders Brownworth. So that's a shout out to him. So yeah, हम यहाँ पे we can see a lot of things. So there's this block number, there is something called nonce, there's this data, and there's this hash. So data and hash तो हमने देख लिया था, है ना? What is a nonce? We'll have to see that, right? So basically, let me type in something here. So did you see like यहाँ पर हमारा पहले जो color था, it was green, and now it's red. Why is that? It's basically because, as you can see, there's this hash, ठीक है, and यहाँ पर the hash starts with 4 zeros, and that is quite important. We'll come to that in a moment. Why? But basically, यहाँ पर ये हो रहा है कि the block number, the nonce, and the data, इन चीजों को combine करके it forms a hash. ठीक है, so the hash is not just dependent on the data; it depends on this number, which we'll see what it is, and the block number. ठीक है, so if I type something, let's say you're typing, I'll have to remind this. It'll take some time, or now it's again having 4 zeros. ठीक है, and basically in a blockchain, that's what we like are really dependent on to like validate something. ठीक है, so in a blockchain, we have like a decentralized peer-to-peer network. There are like a lot of nodes, which are like computers who are running their software, and they all get a set of transactions which they have to verify. Are these transactions correct or are they not? And they have to verify that. And how do they verify that? This is something that like we have scientifically come up with कि okay, let's say कि हम आपके hash को 4 0 से start होना होगा. Why? Well, there's something regarding this. So basically, we can see कि whatever we type in here, the hash of it is not really random, but as far as we are concerned, it's random in a way कि हमें like to generate the same hash, we'll have to like do a trial and error thing, right? Ki I can if I want to generate this like the previous hash again, I'll have to like randomly go over everything possible in the world. Okay, does this work with T? It doesn't. Does it work with R? It doesn't. Does it work with G? It doesn't. Okay, it will only work for this combination, and basically we have no way of knowing ki what this data was, right? Now so that's what the thing is, right? So यहाँ पे हमारा hash है, it is required to have a certain number of zeros शुरुआत के अंदर. Why is that? Because it could be easier to get 1 0, like we have done permutation and combinations in class 11th, है ना? And we know कि एक position पे zero लाना is easier. दो zeros लाना is relatively more difficult. 3 zeros लाना is more difficult. 4 is more difficult, and so on, right? So हम informally बोल सकते हैं कि the number of zeros in the start basically tell us how much effort we have put in to verify if this block is correct. ठीक है? And that's basically the central idea of Bitcoin, right? uh, it's because so basically I told you like there's a peer-to-peer network, and they really need to like verify that which transaction, like if the transactions are verified or not. They have to like they have to verify the transactions. So for that, this is our measure. They have to generate a hash which has, let's say, 4 zeros at the start. अब देखो जो data है ना, it could have something like Arnav pays Chetan 10 rupees, something like that, right? अब I mean ये तो हमेशा सेम ही रहेगा ना, like maybe I could know मतलब मेरे को तो पता ही है ये क्या चीज है. So how will I really like just see कि मतलब how will I generate a hash which has like 4 zeros at the start? We can see कि यहाँ पर अभी nonce was something else and now it just changed. So basically हमारा block number would be fixed, हमारा data would be fixed, and every miner, like every node that is verifying the block is basically going to change this nonce. It is going to go through this regularly, like does it work with 1? It doesn't. Does it work with 2? It doesn't. Does it work with 3? But like does it work with 6229? It does. Okay, so the computer has to go through all of those numbers. There's like no इनका कोई correlation नहीं है. It has to go through all of those numbers to like get these 4 zeros at the start. So basically जितने ज़्यादा zeros होंगे start के अंदर, it basically shows how much effort has been put in, computational effort has been put in to verify this block, right? Now what if I wanted to, like I'm a malicious person, right, and I want to scam Chetan. So what if I do Arnav pays, sorry, Chetan pays Arnav. चलो स्कैम भी करना है, थोड़ा बड़े वाला करते हैं. लेट्स डू. ठीक है, तो नाउ वी कैन सी कि like we have changed the data, but like जो सारा हैश था it is changed. Now the block is not verified anymore. ठीक है, तो अब हमें इस ब्लॉक को मैलिशियस तरीके से चेंज करने के लिए फिर से इसको माइन करना पड़ेगा. That took about 4 seconds. ठीक है, but what if हम यहाँ पे number of zeros increase कर दें? Let's say हमें 12 zeros चाहिए. It's going to take a lot more, right? So that's the entire thing behind this. अगर if I want to change this, it's not theoretically impossible. It's feasibly impossible. Because अगर मैं उसको change करना है, तो I have to find this nonce again. ठीक है, और like अब ये जो block number है, it's also essentially show करता है कि on what point in the blockchain our block is. That's very important. क्योंकि otherwise you would like हम what if हम एक block को ही बाहर निकाल दें? That's also like we also have to consider that. ठीक है. So now let's move on to something more advanced. It's the blockchain, right? This was a single block, and now we move on to a blockchain. अब like पिछले वाले के अंदर we had block number, a nonce, a data, and a hash. But this has something called a previous as well. Previous one. ठीक है. And like if we look into this, तो जो इसका hash है वो next block की प्रीवियस के अंदर है एंड इसका हैश नेक्स्ट वाले के प्रीवियस के अंदर है, ठीक है। सो दिस इज द वे द ब्लॉक्स आर लिंक्ड। वी बेसिकली फिगर आउट कि कौन सा हैश है एंड देन वी गो टू द हैश ऑफ दैट ब्लॉक। लाइक अगर प्रीवियस के अंदर ये वाला हैश है तो विल फाइंड दिस थिंग, okay. And like let's say we have some data in here, like okay, this let's just type in 1, ठीक है। so now you can see कि अब मैं यहाँ पे 1 टाइप किया, so previous तो चेंज नहीं हुआ but this hash changed, है ना, and this hash changed। अब ये दोनों चीजें मैच नहीं कर रही है, so that's why all these blocks are like they are not verified anymore, क्योंकि सारे इनवैलिड हो गए। अब what if I like अगर मेरे को 1 टाइप करना भी है तो I'll have to remind this, right? I will remind this and now this has been validated, but again जो इसका hash है it's going to be different from this, right? इसका hash is going to be different and now we have to put in all that into here, so like I can do this, right? and अब वो same hash यहाँ पर आ गया and like you see कि like जो हमारा new hash है, the hash of this block is now also dependent on the hash of the previous block. So this basically shows us कि if we want to like हमने पिछले लेक्चर में भी saw कि अगर हम एक block को modify करेंगे, so we'll have to like redo the nonce, but now we also have to redo all of these blocks again, otherwise they won't be verified, ठीक है। and again we are talking about 4 zeros at the start right now. If this goes on to 12, like let's say we are like looking for 12 zeros at the start, so what's going to happen, we're going to take exponentially more amount of computational power, ठीक है, कि like 4 zeros वाला hash generate करने के लिए it was taking 4 seconds, 12 वाला zeros generate करने के लिए it will take a few days or something, right? And that's a lot of computational power कि people install like these computational farms of sorts ताकि like they can do this. And now if I want to change anything here, so I have to change, like I have to remine all of these blocks, and that's what makes it physically just like feasibly impossible to like to alter anything in a blockchain. So what does this mean? मतलब blockchain हमें to a very very good level वो हमें immutability provide करता है, and it makes sure कि once we put something in, it's not going to be corrupted, right? But you know what, let's take it one level more. We'll go through this distributed thing, okay? What if someone like Jeff Bezos, who is like on the list most rich man on the earth, right? So let's say he decides कि okay, I'm going to change this like पहला वाला नहीं, I'm going to change ये just last वाला block, just last वाला block, ठीक है, and I'm going to put in some information, ठीक है, some random information, and what Jeff Bezos does is he mines the block, ठीक है। अब क्या हुआ, लाइक उसके पास तो बहुत पैसा है, उसको तो इतना फर्क पड़ा ही नहीं, एंड उसने भी अपनी ब्लॉकचेन वेरीफाई कर ली, है ना, द ब्लॉकचेन इज वेरीफाइड अगेन। सो लाइक what credibility does it have if anyone with a lot of money can do it, है ना? How can we stop this from happening? Like okay, peer A is Jeff Bezos and now like everyone else is like does not have that all that money. So how can we stop this? Like someone with a lot of money could do this, and that's why we have all these peers, right? So this thing, this blockchain is basically not a single thing. If my computer runs the software for blockchain, then it will have a copy of the blockchain. Basically there's no central thing, everyone has a copy of the blockchain. So अगर like जेफ बेजोस को चेंज करना है, वो अपनी लोकल कंप्यूटर के ऊपर इसको चेंज करेगा, बट नाउ एज वी कैन सी इट्स नॉट रियली मैचिंग हमारे वाली ब्लॉकचेन्स, ठीक है। सो देयर वुड बी अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, एक कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होगी, एंड वी विल नीड टू फिगर आउट कि विच ब्लॉक लाइक विच ऑफ दीज हिस्ट्रीज इज राइट, कि जेफ बेजोस की हिस्ट्री ठीक है क्या ब्लॉकचेन की, या फिर मेरी वाली ठीक है। विल हैव टू फिगर दैट आउट। एंड हाउ डू वी डू दैट? इट्स सिंपल कि basically that is something that's done by some algorithms, right? And यहाँ पर we can see कि जो मेरी like the my blockchain and like someone else's blockchain is similar, like we are exactly same, but like Jeff Bezos की different है, and since उसकी वाली different है, like it's going to be rejected and हमारी वाली is going to be accepted as the correct blockchain. So we have like multiple layers of security that are like stacked onto each other so that we can build a decentralized network of these blocks, right? So like I guess that's like that gives an idea how a blockchain works. So like I'll just go yeah. So Now I'll just go back to the slides. Okay, so yeah, okay. So, okay, yeah, this is also something Vineet included. Okay, so shout out to Vineet. He made the PPT right now. ठीक है. And this is something he included that I really like. And it basically shows that there is no central thing in a blockchain. ठीक है. There are all decentralized nodes which are connected together, like not connected together, but like they basically all figure out like which which blockchain is the correct one. ठीक है. We have something and which is the correct history of the transactions. No? There is no centralized thing, and all computers that run the softwares are independent nodes who have like equal say in how this all plays. Okay. And so now we were discussing about the popular blockchains, right? We discussed about Bitcoin, we discussed about Ethereum, and now there's Solana. So what's different about Solana? Well, there's something called a gas fees, and it does not exist in Solana. And why is that? So basically, what happens in Bitcoin and Ethereum, right, the older blockchains, is that the miner needs to be rewarded, right? The one who validates the transaction, he put in a lot of computational effort, right? Why would he put that? Because he wants to be rewarded, and for that reward, Joe, like for every transaction we do on a blockchain, like let's say I do a transaction of 10 rupees, so it will take something small, let's say 1 rupee. They're saying, okay, we will take 11 rupees from you, okay, and the 1 rupee will go to the miner, like the one who validates the block, okay. So like if you're validating the block, it's called mining, and like a miner is the one who does that. So yeah, now yeah, so basically Bitcoin had the system like once you make a transaction, a specific amount is taken out of it and given to the miner. Same with Ethereum, but like Solana has a concept of no gas fees, okay. So like you do not pay extra, you only pay for what we do, okay. That is something that's really cool, and it's quite a recent technology, and I would like to go more over it. You should even go over it yourself. It's cool technology. So yeah, now, like for all of this, we have something called consensus algorithms. And basically, what is it? What is a consensus algorithm? It's basically how we decide how if a block is valid or not. कि हमने एक block लिया है ना, which has like some transactions that are done by the people. Now, how do we know if this is a valid block? ठीक है. And like let's say कि there are 10 people. There are 10 people है ना, who are all trying to validate the block. ठीक है, there are different blocks, they are trying to see कि which one is correct है ना. What is the way to like see which one is correct? And उसके लिए हम we come across consensus algorithms. ठीक है, कि let's say मैं बोलता हूँ कि अच्छा ये these are blocks A to J है ना. I say block A is the correct one, and Chetan says no, block C is the correct one. Vineet says नहीं, block J is the correct one. ठीक है. So how can we come to a conclusion कि which is the correct block? And for that, we use something called a consensus algorithm. What is a consensus algorithm? It's a proof of work. There's proof of stake, and there's something called a delegated proof of stake as well. But yeah, let's come over that. So basically, what happens in proof of work, we say कि जिस node ने, like the node that has done the most computational work, हम उसके block को will consider as the final block. ठीक है. And why is that? Because the node that does more computational work, it's doing so because it's basically trying to be honest, right? कि basically, agar if a node does more computational work to mine the wrong block, then it risks losing all that money that was involved. So we are saying कि no one would like to do that. ठीक है, it could, but like this is this is the thing, right? कि this is how we see if a block is correct. Okay, just let me go over this. So yeah, in this type of consensus algorithm, हम देखते हैं कि like there's a puzzle, and in the example that I showed, the nonce was the puzzle. We had to figure out the nonce, ठीक है, and we had to go over it linearly because there was no specific way to find it, ठीक है. So miners go in proof of work blockchains, miners go through that nonce, and like the one that finds the 4 zeros शुरुआत के अंदर पहले वाला hash. So the one who finds it सबसे पहले, like people consider कि okay, this is the one who put in the most computational work, so we believe you're fine, ठीक है. If you like there's much more mathematics involved in this like for to be covered in this tutorial, but like yeah, we can go over that sometime else. Now there's something else called a proof of stake. And proof of stake in the what's there, we basically see ki, okay, the miner who has the highest amount involved in this is basically a verifier. um you can consider it in a way. Let's say you have two lawyers, है ना? One lawyer has 1000 cases, like he has solved 1000 cases, है ना? उसने 1000 cases जीते हैं, and the other one has won 500 cases. So like who will you believe more? The 1000 one, right? He could do things wrongly, like he could do things in a wrong way, but you would obviously, like if you have to blindly trust someone, that would be the 1000 one, because he had won 1000 cases. Okay, his experience shows for itself. And this is basically what proof of stake is. uh, like algorithmically, the proof of work algorithm is like much more straightforward than the proof of stake one, but this is the one that's more used nowadays, because like Ethereum has shifted to proof of stake. And I think there's a more refined version of this called the delegated proof of stake, which basically strengthens the decentralization part, and like it's something to like look into. And that is basically being used by Solana and the newer coming blockchains. So now, I guess this is a self-explanatory slide, right? What are the opportunities in Web3? Paisa hi paisa. Okay, it's one of the highest paying jobs right now, and writing a smart contract requires you to cover all edge cases and a lot of things, right? You have to make sure it's secure in a way that no one can break into it, है ना? No one can basically exploit your smart contract. So it's a very high paying job, and like this is something that's recently coming up. So there's a lot of hype around it. This is a very new technology, and be sure to look into it. So now, where you can learn it from? Duh, us obviously, man. Like this is why we're doing this, and we're going to provide you a lot of resources, jahan se like you can get started, like including like the lecture today and tomorrow. Because like today we're going to also set up the local environment for development, and tomorrow we're going to build a smart contract together. So now, okay, yeah. So we are going to set up the local environment, but before that, I would like to share some resources that I think are really cool. Okay, just a second. Let me just share my screen again. So yeah, I think let's just do this. So the first of all is the holy grail of everything, right? The documentation. This is the Ethereum development documentation. And अगर आपको कोई भी doubt है ever in your development, this is the like this is the final resource. ठीक है? There's nothing that would not be covered in this. ठीक है? And the forums that are provided here. So like this is the most comprehensive thing you can ever find on the internet. ठीक है? And it covers basically everything, and it's pretty good as well. And इसके अलावा we have whiteboard crypto का YouTube channel. This is really good for like the basic stuff. So if like want to know what a blockchain is, है ना, how it works, and like ऊपर ऊपर से चीजें, ठीक है, and a little bit about crypto as well, rather a lot about crypto, ठीक है. So like if you're into that, then whiteboard crypto is a good channel, ठीक है. There's this thing that I used. It's like Anders Brownworth का tutorial, and it's really really good. I would suggest ki, like you go over this and you like try typing something and like just checking it. Just explore this, right? It's a pretty cool thing, and you should try to explore this. And we have like Learn Web3 DAO. This is something I really like, and it provides you a good pathway to like do like to learn Web3. Okay, because like you can go to courses and degrees, and they have this Ethereum developer degree. So it's divided into 4 parts: freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. And it covers a lot of things in a well-defined way. So it's also a great resource. There's something called crypto zombies as well. Yeah. Oh my bad. And this is like a really gamified version. Like, so it's a gamified way to learn Web3. You can build small smart contracts, like Plants vs Zombies wala theme hai. It's really cool, it's fun. Okay, you can try this out. And there's DApp University. DApp University is like, it tells you how to build a proper smart contract. So like Ethereum was the full and final hamara reference, but this is, if you want to like totally get into like blockchain coding, it's really good. I would recommend this as well. So now I would pass on to Chetan. Thank you, everyone.
Hi guys, thanks Arnav. Thanks for the explanation. So finally, we'll just be keeping the session short. So first of all, जो भी अर्नब ने कॉन्सेप्ट्स बताए हैं, सो लेट्स जस्ट उसने लाइक वी आर थिंकिंग ऑफ ब्लॉकचेन काफी ऑन द टॉप लेयर, बट टेक्निकली कैसे डिफरेंट है ये, लाइक हाउ वुड यू से कि हमने कुछ टेक्निकली क्या चेंजेस किए हैं जो नॉर्मल टेक से, लेट्स सी जैसे वेब 2 में हमारा फ्रंट एंड होता है, बैक एंड होता है एंड डेटाबेस होता है, इन सिमिलर वे इन द वेब 3 हाउ इज इट टेक्निकली डिफरेंट, सो वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट दैट. First of all, on your, if someone is coding along with, they can just open your development environment. So just search for Remix IDE. In the Remix IDE, some interface like this would be opened up. Then you have to go to contract section. In the contract section, then you have to go for, there are some sample contracts given out here. So आप कोई भी normal contract से अभी, this is the basic, like first time interface would be not that user friendly, but yeah, this is the solidity language which is used for writing smart contracts. और फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल व्हाट इज एग्जैक्टली स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट यार कुछ नहीं होता, इट्स जस्ट कि आप जैसे नॉर्मल वेब के एप्लीकेशंस में इफ समवन इज डूइंग फ्रंट एंड, द नॉर्मल फुल स्टैक वेब डेवलपर होते हैं जो, सो फ्रंट एंड होता है, बैक एंड होता है, सो फॉर द बैक एंड पार्ट फ्रंट एंड आपका सेम रहेगा, वही HTML CSS जावास्क्रिप्ट, एंड देन आप कोई फ्रेमवर्क यूज कर सकते हो, रिएक्ट, एंगुलर, व्यू. द ओनली डिफरेंस इज बैक एंड. सो बैक एंड आप किसी भी ब्लॉकचेन बेस्ड लैंग्वेज में लिख सकते हो to put everything on chain. So on chain means, so जैसे बैकएंड फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जब नॉर्मली जो ब्लॉकचेन चल रही थी, जब सॉरी जो वेब 2 चल रहा था, वेब 2 वाज गोइंग ऑन सर्वर्स लाइक AWS GCP वगैरह. तो अभी क्या हो रखा है कि लाइक वही था कि जब सर्वर पे डेटा जाता है, सो व्हेन द डेटा गोज ऑन सर्वर, सो व्हाट एग्जैक्टली वहीं से डेटा लीक्स एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट हैपन. सो इन ब्लॉकचेन हम प्रॉब्लम तो यही सॉल्व कर रहे हैं एट द टॉप लेयर कि हमें बैकएंड अपने हाथ में लेना है. सो फॉर बैकएंड आप किसी भी लैंग्वेज में, ब्लॉकचेन बेस्ड लैंग्वेज में बैकएंड लिख सकते हो. सो फॉर इथेरियम इज द लाइक द मोस्ट पॉपुलर वन राइट नाउ. फॉर इथेरियम आप रीमिक्स, जो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल सॉलिडिटी इज द लैंग्वेज फॉर राइटिंग इन इथेरियम डेवलपमेंट एनवायरनमेंट. देन अदर पॉपुलर ब्लॉकचेन्स आर सोलाना. सोलाना में अगर आपने लिखना, आपने सुन रखा होगा नाम इसका, ICP. ICP is the language, ICP blockchain आप use कर सकते हो. Like any, there are numerous number of examples जिसमें अभी right now जो famous है. So first, like if you are beginner here, so Solidity is the first language that you want. Like आपको resources भी अच्छे मिल जाएंगे as Arnav has shared. Yeah. So just to give an overview, सिमिलर इन द लाइक आप नॉर्मल ऊप्स कोई भी ऊप्स वाली लैंग्वेज में आप जैसे क्लास से स्टार्ट करते हो, राइट? सो यहाँ पे आपको जस्ट स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट स्टार्ट करना है अगर, तो इट विल बी स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, देन नेम ऑफ द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, नेम ऑफ द एप्लीकेशन दैट यू आर राइटिंग. दिस इज अ नॉर्मल स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जस्ट टू स्टोर अ नंबर, लाइक आपने कुछ इंटीजर स्टोर करना है, डेटा लाइक, अब इसको आप किसी भी लेवल तक एक्सटेंड कर सकते हो. सो अगर आप कोई नंबर स्टोर करना हो, पहले फंक्शन बनाओगे, देन नॉर्मल डेटा टाइप्स होते हैं, वही नॉर्मल लूप्स लैंग्वेज जैसे कोई भी. सो अगर आप लाइक फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपको प्रॉब्लम आएगी कि हम न्यू लैंग्वेज कैसे लर्न करेंगे. सो आई बिलीव अगर आपकी जावास्क्रिप्ट स्ट्रांग है तो देन यू कैन इजीली स्विच ऑन टू दिस सॉलिडिटी. आपको सिमिलर सा सिंटेक्स मिलेगा, थोड़े बहुत चेंजेस डेफिनेटली होते हैं बैकएंड वाली लैंग्वेजेस में, बट या इफ यू आर फेमिलियर विद जावास्क्रिप्ट देन इट इज गोइंग टू बी पीस ऑफ केक फॉर यू. नेक्स्ट थिंग इज लाइक the actual coding wala part will be done tomorrow by our third team member Vineet. And for the resources part, अगर आप जैसे अर्नव has shared the learn web 3, I would not recommend कि आप इतने resources एक साथ follow करो. The only resource that you should be looking for is learn web 3. And learn web 3 maybe then you go for the courses section. Courses में then you go for Ethereum developer degree. Ethereum की आप freshman track अगर आप finish कर लेते हो, then you are at least sufficient enough, आपको पूरी इंडस्ट्री के बारे में नॉलेज आ जाएगी कि web 3 अभी कहाँ पे है. अब फाइनली हम बात करते हैं कि लाइक ये सारा होगा टेक्निकल पार्ट, लाइक कैसे ये चीजें वर्क कर रही हैं, कौन सी लैंग्वेज है. द ओनली डिफरेंस नॉट फ्रॉम नॉर्मल वेब टू एप्लीकेशंस इज कि आप बैकएंड अपने हाथ में ले रहे हो, नथिंग एल्स देन दैट. सो नेक्स्ट थिंग गोइंग टू बी, आप लाइक राइट नाउ इसमें पैसे का, जैसे वी हैव सीन कि देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज टू अर्न इन वेब 3. सो अपॉर्चुनिटीज कैसे होती हैं? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो हाईएस्ट पेइंग जॉब है. लाइक राइट नाउ अगर आप कुछ भी सर्च करोगे कि लाइक बट वैसे मार्केट रिसेशन में है, बट सिंस like I'll just tell you the concept of halving. फिर आपको उसी से exactly पता लग जाएगा कि why this year is going to be the best year for Web3 and blockchain. Like as per industry's records, this year is going to see a lot of rise in Web3 jobs. because of the concept of halving. So what has happened is recent, like हर 4 साल में क्या होता है, बिटकॉइन का प्राइस हाफ, like बिटकॉइन प्राइसेस go top to the roof. सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज लाइक अगर जैसे 2024 में क्या हो रहा है कि बिटकॉइन की जो मार्केट सर्कुलेशन में है कभी, तो वो बर्न होगा. सो व्हाट एग्जैक्ट लाइक आई जस्ट टेल यू कि इस साल क्रिप्टो प्राइसेस काफी राइज होंगे. सो दिस इज द इंडस्ट्री स्टैंडर्ड. जब भी क्रिप्टो प्राइसेस राइज होते हैं, सो मेनी न्यू पीपल एंटर इनटू द ब्लॉकचेन जस्ट बिकॉज सीइंग द कि मार्केट में पैसा बन रहा है. सो व्हेन पैसा बनता है मार्केट में, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज क्रिएटेड इन द वेब3 स्पेस. लास्ट ईयर 2021 वाज द बूम, लाइक सिमिलर बूम आया था. अब 2024 में हर 4 साल बाद यही बूम आता है मोस्टली. ना आफ्टर द बूम सेटल्स डाउन, द नॉर्मल डेवलपर्स, लाइक जो एक्चुअल डेवलपर्स होते हैं, वो मार्केट में अच्छा पैसा बना के जाते हैं, बिकॉज उसके बाद सारा ये पैसे जो क्रिप्टो करेंसीज वाला कॉन्सेप्ट है वो खत्म हो जाता है. एंड देन कम्स जो डेवलपर्स बच जाते हैं, वो एप्लीकेशंस बनाना शुरू करते हैं अपनी नॉर्मल, जो उनको नई नई प्रॉब्लम्स आती हैं. सो आई गेस यू हैव ऑलरेडी गॉट द पॉइंट कि अभी दिस ईयर इज द राइट टाइम टू एंटर इनटू ब्लॉकचेन स्पेस. सो when you are done with this ethereum thingy, then you have to just I would ki like if you are normal, abhi aapne like backend mein kuch आपको यू फील कि अभी बैकएंड सीखना पड़ेगा नई लैंग्वेज का, दैट इज ऑल्सो गुड थिंग. बट अदरवाइज ऑल्सो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ अदर थिंग्स. आपने लाइक यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डाउज. सो डाउज आर नथिंग बट लाइक आप जैसे नॉर्मल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में अप्लाई करते हो, सो नॉर्मल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस की जगह यहाँ पे क्या होता है ब्लॉकचेन में, इट इज टोटली कम्युनिटी बेस्ड थिंग कि आप सारे कम्युनिटी में, एक कम्युनिटी में किसी भी कम्युनिटी को ज्वाइन कर सकते हो. राइट नाउ सोलाना की जो कम्युनिटी है, सोलाना इज अनदर ब्लॉकचेन. वहां सोलाना की कम्युनिटी का नाम है सुपर टीम. तो यू कैन बी अ मेंबर ऑफ सुपर टीम डाउ. सुपर टीम डाउ में लाइक डेली बेसिस पे इतनी बाउंटीज आती है. बाउंटीज आर लाइक नॉर्मल प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट्स. आप प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट्स को सॉल्व कर सकते हो. सो दिस इज द वेबसाइट. लाइक यहाँ पे डेली बेसिस पे इतनी लाइक एक ट्विटर थ्रेड लिखने के भी आपको like you can just see कि 700 USDT USDC or something like $700 मिल रहे हैं, $1,000 for writing, for the technical writing, even for this small thing. Yeah, like I personally was writing for this bounty. Like I just seen hopefully मेरा भी हो जाए, let's just see. But like I personally was writing Twitter thread on this bounty. And actually the thing is that यहाँ पे, so this is for the technical writing part. Apart from this, if you are like आप अभी development side अभी देखना चाहते हो सोलाना में, so like there are a lot of bounties जहाँ पे आपको सिर्फ front end अगर if you want to really, if you don't really want to go into back end also, आप अगर front end side बनाना चाहते हो, तो then also there are a lot of bounties में you can get a lot of amount of money. So yeah, so super team DAO is the place जहाँ पे you can earn, like actually start your earning. Like अगर आप कुछ bounties, just like hackathons are the best place to participate. Then bounties are the new thing right now in the web3 space. अगर आपके पास bounties होते हैं, then you get admitted into a DAO. And DAO is like super team DAO right now is the biggest DAO in India right as of now. So if you have the tag of super team DAO, then you actually become credible that आपने blockchain space में कुछ काम कर रखा है. So this is the, I guess, the good thing that you should be knowing. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, लाइक आपने रिमिक्स, जैसे आपने हमने स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स मैंने बता दिए हैं कि स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स में आपको लाइक दिस इज द नॉर्मल स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दैट यू विल बी राइटिंग. लेट मी जस्ट टेल यू, इट्स माय स्क्रीन इज नॉट लोडिंग. So if you are like agar before tomorrow's session, tomorrow we'll be actually writing a smart contract to create your own NFT, to create a cryptocurrency of your name, and actually writing first smart contract, like building your first DApp. DApp is basically just a normal web2 world में applications होती हैं, they are called apps, and in web3 world these are called dapps. Dapps stands for decentralized apps. Decentralized in this manner that आप उस app का control ले रहे हो rather than app going on some backend. The backend is in your hand. So this is going to be the resource. आप अभी beginner अगर like beginner में start करना चाहते हो solidity को, so then you can go for it. All of the resources will be shared in the GDSC community by tonight, and then वहाँ से आप follow कर सकते हो. So yeah, anything else for the session? Let me just. Perfect. Meanwhile, if anyone has any doubts or something regarding the session कि Web3 में और क्या हम कर सकते हैं discussions, you are just totally open to in the chat section. Then we'll be wrapping up. अदर थिंग इज लाइक एनी लाइक नॉर्मली क्या होता है जैसे आप पाइथन में या कुछ भी लाइब्रेरीज लाइक द मोस्ट पॉपुलर लाइब्रेरीज राइट नाउ इन दिस वेब3 स्पेसेस आपको लाइक ऑलरेडी अ लॉट ऑफ कोड हैज बीन रिटन बाय डेवलपर्स इन दिस स्पेस. सो क्या होगा कि लाइक देयर इज अ लाइब्रेरी कॉल्ड ethr.js. Like ethr.js is a library that is used to connect to your metamask wallets. So metamask wallets are something, so you can just see this extension, right? Extension may, to just connect with this extension, you need to be aware of the concept of ethr.js. Ethr.js is the, first of all, पहले आई थी web3.js, अब चल रही है ethr.js. Web3.js has been discarded by most of the developers. अभी right now all of the smart contracts are being written with the help of ethr.js. And like जैसे आप backend में backend होता है, आप express server में लिखते हो. If you are doing merge check or something, Node.js में express आप import करते हो. Similarly, there in the Web3 space, there is term called OpenZeppelin. OpenZeppelin is a space जो आपको import करनी पड़ती है, and then all of the smart contracts, example smart contracts. So yeah, so a lot of smart contracts have already been written ki aapko, like you're just getting the point, right? This is the biggest open source library in the web3 space jahan pe already lot of smart contracts have been written. You have to just import it in your smart contract and then you're totally up to it. Perfect. Any other doubts or something? I just got from the chat that we also got like many of the, there's a term that has always been in hype regarding NFTs. uh, like NFTs are nothing, yaar. You just think of it as आपने when like हम जब से छोटे थे तो हमने वहां पे पोकेमोन कार्ड्स वगैरह खेले थे बहुत ज्यादा. So what was that कि that card actually doesn't have any value. The only value that it had in actual was कि वो काफी यूनिक था rather against the other cards. So non fungible tokens are something कि आपको एक टोकन मिल जाता है and that token can actually store a lot of data. Like आपकी पर्सनल, जैसे राइट नाउ आधार कार्ड होता है, आधार कार्ड इज समथिंग दैट आपके क्यूआर कोड्स बन जाते हैं एंड दैट क्यूआर कोड आधार आईडी इज लिंक टू यू. only you are the owner of that Aadhaar ID. And similar is the way for in the Web3 space. There's a concept of non-fungible token. एक यूनिक आईडी मिलने के लिए there's a non-fungible token that gets associated with you. So in that, right now NFTs, like personally आपको NFTs, you will be thinking आपने बहुत सुन रखा कोई NFTs is not. NFTs actually is the space जहाँ पे ये पैसे वाली गेम काफी खेली जाती है. So you should actually not explore just for the tech side of view. The only NFTs usable right now are कि आपने जैसे अभी what government has done is कि हर एक student identity cards, there was a small government initiative. I'm not recalling the state name. So they have also tried and tested कि everything जो आपकी academic history होती है for the students, तो so they will be getting stored in NFTs so that it can't be altered. Because you have seen कि काफी लोग होते हैं जो date of birth वगैरह, let's say someone like in India especially क्या होता है कि like date of birth का काफी सीन होता है कि like someone just changes their date of birth randomly against their original dates. But if some data is stored in NFT, so that can't be changed on the original certificate. So like you're just getting the, there are a lot of like there are a lot of use cases, but that have not been explored yet. So right now the terms that are the most hyped industry right now is Web3. Web3 में आप जा सकते हो. Web3 is the most hyped industry right now, which is using the concept of blockchain. Then there's the space called DeFi. DeFi is decentralized finance. The only space that has a lot of jobs right now is the DeFi, because originally blockchain का concept आया कहाँ से था? When 2008 crisis happened, banking sector को solve करने के लिए ही blockchain का concept लाया गया था. And from that time till now क्या हुआ है कि like decentralized finance has grown to the level कि the perfect example, like I'm just giving out, if someone is watching, you can just take down notes of and what exactly is being discussed here. Uniswap protocol is the perfect example जहाँ पे actually ये सारी जो application है, it is totally on chain. ये कोई नॉर्मल AWS या GCP पे डिप्लॉयड नहीं है. सो दिस इज द स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विच इज रिटन इन इथेरियम एंड द परफेक्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड फाइनेंस, जहां पे एक्चुअल करेंसीज का एक्सचेंज हो सकता है इन द डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड मैनर दैट आई एम नॉट अवेयर ऑफ द लेंडर बट एक्चुअली आई कैन रिसीव करेंसी. सो इन दिस वे द मिडल वेयर जहां पे बैंक्स इन्वॉल्व नहीं है एंड वी कैन डू द एक्सचेंज ऑफ करेंसी. So you must be thinking Binance भी यही काम करता है, but Binance में क्या होता है कि like Binance and all of the these are also decentralized exchanges, but to the extent that जो आपकी प्राइवेट कीज होती हैं, पब्लिक कीज होती हैं, जस्ट समथिंग सिमिलर टू योर बैंक अकाउंट. सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज कि आप जो बैंक अकाउंट होता है आपके, इन द सिमिलर मैनर यहाँ पे ब्लॉकचेन में यू हैव समथिंग कॉल्ड पब्लिक की. पब्लिक की इज यूनिस्वैप प्रोटोकॉल में क्या होता है कि लाइक दैट टोटली इज डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड, बट बाइनेंस एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट कॉइन बेस आपने सुना होगा. रिसेंटली देयर वाज एफटीएक्स क्रैश, लाइक अभी तो रिसेंटली नहीं हुआ है, इट हैज बीन अराउंड 2 years. बट क्या हुआ कि लाइक it was a perfect example of decentralized exchange. Like FTX was the largest exchange by volume, but what happened was कि वहां से भी account numbers leak हो गए थे. So I would always prefer कि अगर आप सही में smart contract लिखना चाहते हो and you want to be a developer in the blockchain space, so just search for this Uniswap protocol. When you start get like आपको जब grasp आ जाती है NFTs, sorry solidity की, अगर आपको grasp आ चुकी है, तो then just try to read the smart contract of Uniswap. If you are able to read Uniswap smart contract, this is the repository. It's quite famous repository, something similar to like आप React level पे इस repository को माना जाता है यहाँ पे in the blockchain space. So yeah, I guess we are like these were the things that we wanted to discuss. Meanwhile, we can just have a small Q&A, right? It was a long session.
So like, does anyone have any questions? We'll be happy to answer them.
If anyone has any questions, we are having 2 more minutes, then we can wrap up the session. You can just post it in the chat section.
Like till that time, like once you get started with all of this and you have any problems, you can just simply contact us. It's as simple as that, and we can like totally figure out together like if something is going wrong or something. Just like we love to brainstorm. That's all.
Yeah. Also, guys, try to be in the space ki jahan pe it's more like learning within the community. It is totally like open source environments. आपने अगर आप backend पे जा रहे हो तो then you must have interacted with open source space. So blockchain is the actual space जहाँ पे community में build करते हैं लोग. So just try exploring it.
And so tomorrow, like we'll be building a smart contract ourselves. So like, be sure to join in because it's going to be a really valuable experience for you all, and you will learn how to actually like build something from scratch.
Perfect. So can we wrap it?
I guess we can. For any more doubts, you can just contact us. So like, thank you everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, Adrian.
Happy holidays.